Good morning. We are live. Good morning. RT Bear here. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. Yes, it's a fantastic Wednesday morning, and I hope everybody out there is doing good, having a good day so far. So far, we're just starting the day. If it starts off a little rough, sometimes it can get better. Sometimes it could get better. Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. One of the things I'm going to do, I thought it would be fun, is to I did this on Mr. Frega's show a while back, and I talked about the origin of black and white, how it came about, the creation basically of the book itself. So kind of the seed of inspiration, and then how it took flight from there. So I'm going to get into a little bit more detail than I did with Dan, because it's my show and I can do whatever the heck I want. I could have done it on Dan's, but he had other things he needed to do as well. So yeah, I didn't want to take up all his time. So yeah, I got a different camera set up. I kind of like it. It's a little higher. So we're looking down on me. Let me see. You can't get all of Batman in there. There we go. Let me scoot over. There we go. Ooh, there we go. Now we got good composition. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have some black and white talk, how it all began, and I'm getting distracted by my hair. It looks like I need a haircut. I shaved up. I shaved up the beard. I got some dye. Pamela picked up some hair dye, beard dye. This is only like a couple weeks. It already turned gray. Like the mustache is still a little dark, but it turns gray really quickly. So I would imagine if I started dyeing my beard, it would be like every couple weeks I would have to re-dye it, and that's way too much maintenance. Oh shoot, we got a full house. Let's go. Let's say hi. Let's be social. Hey, Joe Bernardo, aloha. We got Pedro Eng. Hey, Art, I'm in here first. Well, second. Sorry. Good morning, Joe Bernardo. We got Leg Kick. He's saying hi to everybody. We got Nicholas. Good morning. Pedro, do you have a Twitter? Oh, Pedro has a Twitter. Indeed. We have Ink. Well, good day. Good day, sir. Yes. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah, if you could, you guys, give it a thumbs up. If you could tweet this out, let people know that this is going to be the epic origin story. And I'm going to wait for a little bit more people to come in. Antonio, what's up? Hello, beautiful people. I'm assuming you're all beautiful. Well, in the case of me, indeed. I don't know. F off, well read. Yes, greetings. Greetings, my friend. Leg kick. Who was the most difficult penciler you had to ink? I went over this. It was Victor Bogdanovich. That dude's a pain in the ass. Yeah, he got me fired from the book. Actually, who else was kind of a pain in the ass, believe it or not, was Brett Booth. I inked his Backlash. I got hired to be the regular inker on Backlash for Wildstorm, and there was a crazy deadline, so it was like pages or something like that had to be done in one day. It was crazy, and so I think I got them the night before. So I worked all night, worked all day, and then it was pretty much a 24-hour period, something like that. And so I drove them to San Diego to make the deadline. So I drove them, handed them to the editor. The editor was ecstatic. He was so excited that I made the deadline. They weren't going to miss shipping or any of that stuff, right? So sometimes, yeah, and let me back up. To make the deadline, there was a few things I didn't ink. They weren't big things. They were just time-saving things. And sometimes you have to make decisions. Do you make the deadline, or do you like maybe not ink every detail. And these were like little nick details. These were like really, they didn't have anything to do with anything, right? But keep in mind, this was the image days. This was the artists, rule the roost, and they have final say, and all this stuff. So God, what was the editor's name? Was Bill something. He worked at DC, I believe, and then worked at as an editor at Wildstorm. And so he calls me and he said, did you take some shortcuts? And I said, yeah. You stressed upon me that these pages absolutely had to be done. So the only way I could do that is to do what I did. And so then he said, well, Brett Booth didn't like it. And I was like, oh, well, I'm sorry. If I had more time, I would have definitely done everything that needed to be done. But you stressed upon me it had to get done. And I drove it to you and everything. I hand delivered these pages to you. And so he said, well, I know. He said, you did me a solid. He goes, I'll try to make it up to you in the future. He said, but Brett doesn't want to work with you anymore, so I have to fire you. So I got fired off of Backlash because I had the nerve to make sure that the book got done on time, and I had to do what I had to do. And the editor didn't stand his ground with Brett. He didn't say, hey, he did me a solid. It was only 3 pages in the book. Everything else was inked, to your liking. I mean, you didn't have a problem with anything else. So it really was just kind of like egos were running amok. And I never forgot that. I always thought that Brett was being a little bit short-sighted, a little petty with his power, to fire me like that, or to get me fired like that. So yeah, so Victor and Brett Booth were probably, and Brett wasn't like difficult. The work process wasn't difficult like it was with Victor. It was just that it was absolute. It was like, you did this, you're fired. Like there was no like taking this situation into consideration. There wasn't any of that. It was just, you did this, you're fired. And I was like, wow, that's unreasonable. I never forgot that. I have another Brett Booth story, but I'll tell it at some other point because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Rick says, morning art, Jasper Plan 9. Hey, chat. We have Steven, Rockwood Drawing. Artie Bear, what's up? Jasper, how many black and white 90s tier did you make available? There were 30, and at this point we're completely sold out. So I'm gonna go in there and share and go over the campaign real quick. Since I'm still in campaign mode, I have to get in on this. So yeah, yesterday we had a pretty fantastic day. Let me see. It should be at the 30. Yep, it's sold out. And let's keep scrolling down. It's right here. It's the 90s flashback tier, $30. This came with 3 of the original books, 2 of the miniseries, and the first issue for the ongoing, a trading card, pog, and postcard. And yeah, there were 30, and we sold out like so fast. It was crazy to see. So yeah, we got 30 backers, over 30 backers yesterday, because some other stuff sold as well or got backed. And so yes, this is Black and White, Volume 2, Man versus Machine. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. We are at 72,612. We are so close to 72. And once we hit that 72, that next stretch goal is going to definitely be in our sights. 882 backers, almost 900 backers, you guys. We're closing in on that 1,000 backers. This is incredible. It's all because of you. You guys are so terrific, so amazing. We have 20 days left. I'm actually holding out hope that we can hit that 100K by the end of this 20 days. I think with your help, a lot of help actually, sharing out, getting the word out. We got a couple new things we're going to be adding soon, where Pamela's going to do a book count, a second book count for that tier, the 90s tier and the flashback tier. And if we have more books and we have more goodies, then we may reinstate that later today. I don't want to totally commit her to it because she wasn't sure about how much we have and all that stuff. So when she gets back, she's going to go over all that and see if we can do that. And we'll probably put that at a little bit a higher rate, maybe 35 for that tier going forward. So yeah, and I have another tier planned for you guys soon. That's going to be a like a merch tier. We're going to have like all the stretch goal stuff that we've made, like the post or the trading cards, the buttons, the patches, stuff like that, the Inco shirt. So it's going to be a merch tier. And so you're going to be able to get like old merch that we had in the other campaigns. And then, like I said, the Inco t-shirt and stuff like that. So let's watch this video here. This thing looks so cool.
From RT Bear comes the exciting conclusion to the Black and White origin saga. 60 pages of pulse-pounding action. In a world where law and order are often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. Man versus machine.
Yeah, you guys, back it today. If you haven't, would greatly appreciate that. Be super fantastic. And yeah, this is just near and dear to my heart. Black and White Volume 2, they're back and better than ever. This is the main cover here. Penciled and inked by myself, colored by the great, brilliant Stefani Renee. Did a fantastic job on the coloring. I am so proud of this cover. It came out so good. So we have the variant Kenneth Rocafort cover. I want to rock with you. Yeah. So, wow, look at that thing. Fighting robots. And then the incredible Joe Bennett. Look at this. These are his pencils. Okay, look at that. Remember what you're seeing right there. Put it in your mind's eye. Remember. Okay. So I had a chance to actually do some serious work yesterday. And I am an hour out from finishing this cover. Look at this thing. Let me turn off this light here, see if I can get better resolution. Yeah, so this is going off the Kyle Ritter black. He's the one right there that has to, there's still some work in his face. I kind of reworked the hair a little bit, and then in the back over here, that's all that needs to be done. So pretty much the gun or the guns, the background, and the rest of his face. Everything else is done. Look at the detail. There's Joe Bennett's name in there. My name is in there as the way it should be. Look at those robots. It came out so cool. In a world, you guys, where robots run amok, we got robot fighters here. We got black and white kicking ass and taking names, beating up on those robots. Stick it to the bots, indeed. She looks so freaking cool. Yeah, Joe Bennett just knocked this one completely out of the ballpark. I think the two of us combined are a grand slam. Yeah, so that will get done, and then I will send that out to Kyle Ritter for colors. He said he should be able to have it done in just a couple days. So you guys will be seeing some colors on this cover very, very soon. So it'll be complete for you guys. You get to see stuff being created in front of your very eyes for this campaign. When I start going into like full page mode, you'll see me putting those pages together. I'll be videotaping all that, doing live streams. Here's the High Octane Adventure. This is Von Klaus and Pedro Ang, the team supreme. So I came up with just a really like basic idea, pitched it to Von Klaus, and Von Klaus did 2 drafts. And wow, I could not be happier with what he came up with. Sent it off to Pedro. He kicked ass. Pedro is pretty much done. I just need to go over stuff with him. Just some mentoring. This is Pedro's first like professional comic book work. So he's fantastic. This animation style is totally amazing. I am so blessed. Look at who I get to work with. Von Klaus, Pedro Ang, Joe Bennett, Kenneth Rocafort, Kyle, Ritter. I get to work with on letters. I get to work with Eric Weathers. Joe Fulton, aka Thunderbuns, is my co-writer on this. Just fantastic. Perea is coloring the interiors. He's back. He did the first volume. So speaking of the first volume, here it is. This is the second printing of volume 1, you guys. Back this bad boy. I want to get these orders up as high as we can. I want a pretty good print run because we sold out of the first print run. There was like 1,200 or 1,500 that we printed up, and we completely sold out of it. I have 1 copy left for my own archive. So yeah, get in on this. The higher the numbers, the better it is for the print run. And so then we have the Greg Capullo variants. The one on the left is sold out, but we still have the Virgin variant in the black and white jam tier. We have original story page layouts. So they're only $40. And this is all the original artwork we have available right now on the campaign. So if you're a fan of original artwork, this is all that's offered at this point in time. So we managed to sell 2 commissions and a lot of the cover artwork. And I do have 1 more piece of artwork that was used. It was going to be the original cover, but I'm using it for the exclusive pre-launch trading card. So I'll probably be putting that up very soon. I really want to get quickly to that 75K, because once we get to that 75K, then we will have unlocked a new stretch goal, which is the epilogue. So 75K, you guys, that's 4 extra pages written by Joe Fulton and myself. And we're gonna basically put a nice bow on the story proper, and then give you a little bit of insight on where the story is going to go from here on. So that is going to be fantastic. And we're really a little over $3,000 away from it. So if we can get to that quickly, also the quicker we can get to that, then I'll really have confidence. Because once we start that stretch to 80K, then I really think we have a chance at that 100K. And also, you guys, I haven't announced it here yet, but the 80K stretch goal, and you guys created this last live stream, was the UV coating. So we're going to do UV coating for the book. It looks fantastic. It really classes up the cover. I think it's, in ways, it's better than foil. Although I really wanted to do foil with the Chrono Mechanics book, because I think it would have fit that book. I also designed it for that. But I don't know if you guys can see shiny, and the robots, and the logo is shiny, but all of this background here is flat. It's like a matte finish. So it's matte finish all the way around. And then her and the robots are shiny. It's so damn cool. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So Taylor Grosso and I put this together for the art book. but I don't know if you can really see it. You can probably see it better here. So the black here is matte, and then she's shiny. You can see, yeah, there you go. You can see it there. It's so cool. And so that's just 5K. For 5K, we can make this happen. And then also the spine is matte, but the writing is all glossy. It's really cool. It's a great look. And at 80K, I think we can make that happen. So I think I covered the campaign. Yeah, so that's pretty much the campaign right now. I believe we're 20 days away, so we have under 3 weeks. So holy crap, we would have to do 10K a week. Yeah, that's a lot, but I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Like I said, I got some things planned, some new tiers. We may be doing a commission tier. I might do some commissions. They're not going to be full 11 by 17 commissions. There'll probably be more of like headshots and things like that. Let me see if I can find an example of them. I usually go to Instagram for it, but I think it would be better to do it like this. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I can do this. I'll share. So I might, well, I think if I'm going to do it, I'll open it up to any characters you guys want. So like this is one. So this is an example of what the commissions will be like. And I know no one goes to Deviant anymore, so don't be criticizing me, but it's still like a really good format to show off stuff, because you can also blow it up, make them bigger. So let me see what else we have. So this is a con drawing. So I did this at a convention. So they'll most likely look like this. So they'll have some gray tone on them. There'll be brush, and there'll be multi things. There'll be like marker and brush and gray tone and just whatever. I like to do these because I don't have any. I did this at a show. I think I did this at WonderCon. This was a lot of fun. Elastigirl from The Incredibles. Yeah. So let me see. Phoenix. There's one. I did this I did this on Mike S. Miller's, when the drawing streams that he used to have. What was it? Drawn and Quartered. Yeah. So I did Starfire on his Drawn and Quartered show. So I wasn't planning on doing this, but this is fun. One of you guys, or just somebody that listens to the show, did some color work. This is how I met Kyle Ritter, actually. Kyle just saw some of my drawings that I was posting, and he colored them, and that's how I met him. I mean, I knew Kyle before Comicsgate. There might even be some here. I did this on Mike's stream too. It was a Halloween stream. Skeletor. Yeah, those used to be fun before they got crazy. Oh, I did this one on Mike's too. I might still have this. I don't think I sold it. Yeah, I think, what was it? John Malin made fun of me because he's got a knife in his hand. He's like, he doesn't need a knife. He's got his hands. He's got his claws. I'm like, yeah, whatever. There it is in black and white. Harley Quando. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I did this on Mike's too. I think I won with this drawing. The old days of Comicsgate. Yeah, here's I did this at a convention. So there's let Venom with his goopy tongue. The goopy tongue. Let's see what else. I don't think I did this at a show. This was just a commission. I got to work on this in my studio. The Black Cat. So yeah, we can do this. I could bring these back. There's Storm. So you guys get the idea. Cry for Dawn. So this was a little bit of more expensive. So this is like almost photorealistic. It's very heightened. I kind of looked at the image, but I kind of didn't make it look exactly like I forget the actress's name now that played Catwoman. Julie Newmar. There's the pencils. That was a commission. This one I thought came out pretty cool. Mary Jane. And let me see what else. Drawing. That was a commission. Is her name Tila? I don't know any of these. Is it Masters of the Universe? I don't know what the She-Ra. I don't know what the hell this was from, but it was fun. Oh, somebody hired me to do Hazard. Hazard was a character that I created with Fabian Nicieza. And so one of you guys said, hey, can you draw Hazard? And I was like, hell yeah. So this is like a new version. I kind of took some liberties with it and modernized it. I think it came out pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking I could bring back and do some drawings for you guys. Let's see where else we are. I lost track. Oh, shoot. I saw Skits. And then the thing just jumped. Skits is a good friend of mine. You're speaking truth, Sketch. Okay, so this, what is Sketch talking? Let's see. Wait. Okay, Sketch is way back here. Sketch. Whoa, I can't keep track of this. Sketch is everywhere. Sketch is everywhere. Oh, Pedro's talking about deadlines. Situations like deadlines creates friction like that. The firing seems excessive, but in the long run, it's a favor. It speaks volumes of both the editor and the penciler. Yeah. In the old days, if an editor asked you to stand up to the penciler, but the image days, like the penciler, they were indulged to the nth degree. So when they spoke, editors listened. Editors actually was kind of like image editors were kind of like they are now. They were kind of they were what do they call that? They were managed like from on high, and they were pretty much beholden to like whoever ran the studio and the artists themselves. They really didn't have that much power. And I do believe, I can't really speak for Marvel because I haven't worked there in decades, but DC, the editors didn't have a lot of power at all. So Sketch says the notifications are working again. Looks like if I lurk, they can turn them off. I have to either comment or catch you live. I got to get notifications. It's the algorithm interaction mechanism. Oh, he's talking to Sketch. Okay, I think I get where you guys are coming from. So I'll let you guys talk in peace. But Sketch, welcome to the chat. Skits, welcome to the chat. Let's call him Skits Therapy. Yeah, I can't wait. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the pencils and ink so you guys can see what I did. There's some changes and stuff in the ink, so it might be fun for you to see, kind of get an insight on what inkers can do and little changes they can make to enhance or change the style slightly. Yes. Remember to hit the like, friends. Yes, please do so. Who's that? Should I type this in? You gave me, let me see if I can find it. You guys gave me this actress's name and I saved it. She's very pretty. I don't know her name though. I did write it down somewhere. Once you guys are way more savvy with this than I am. Oh, where the hell are you, lady? I got to clean off my desktop. Is it Kelly? It's Kelly something. Let me see. Share. So this is her here. Yeah, she's pretty. This is like simple makeup. She's got a really strong jaw. I think it'd look cool in the with the helmet on, with the white helmet. She's got the hairstyle. She's got like I think she's half and half, so she's Asian mixed with something else, and that's what white is. Whitney Sung. So yeah, let me see who this other actress is. I got all these tabs open. Was it let me go back. Bing Bing? Are you guys, that's a made up name. Really? Bing Bing? Oh, okay. Yeah, she's got a real narrow face. Wow. Okay. Let me find an image. Yeah, she's pretty. Save as. Download. Yeah, you guys can choose now. Let's do a competition. Let's see who's the better white. Do. Okay, we got is it Lai Bing Bing? Very pretty. She's got a real narrow face. It's not as tough looking. She's got a little bit badass look, I think. They're both very pretty. She's smiling, so she looks more approachable, but I'm sure this woman could turn on the charm too. I kind of like her, like that kind of resting badass face. So yeah, this is Kelly Abilia. Is that her name? I've never seen any movies or anything with these actresses in them, but they both really, they have all the attributes. I like Kelly's mouth better. The jaw is a little masculine, but I've been trying to break myself of drawing like wider jaw lines for women because it does look a little masculine. And she's got more of the taper. She's got a little bit of the pixie jawline, but both very pretty. So who do you guys vote for? Let's see. Oh, Skits is saying, glad you're doing much better than your other campaigns, Art. You deserve it. Well, between two black and white campaigns, we did over 100K. So Black and White Volume 1 did very, very well. Chrono, I believe that Chrono got caught up in that division that happened a few years back in Comicsgate, where Mike Miller and Doug were kind of, leaving and saying some stuff. And then there were a couple people that weren't fulfilling campaigns. So there was a lot of stuff happening. And so I think the CG group it was almost like they had to decide whether they were going to go with Mike and Doug, or if they were going to stay here with like me and Ethan and, I can't remember who else was in the group at the time. There's a lot of new people that have come in. Who was there? There was, Donald DeLay. There was Kelsey Shannon. Who else were like the bigger books? Wow, I'm completely blanking. Because Red Rooster, they were kind of breaking away from CG as well. So, and they hadn't fulfilled. I still don't know if they fulfilled. I haven't got my Red Rooster book yet, so I don't know if he's fulfilled yet. What else? Who else was there? Oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking on stuff. But I'm trying to think of the mainstay books. Like if there were mainstay books at the time, I mean, there was obviously Bigfoot Bill, and there was Lone Star. There was Red Rooster, Black and White. There was Brutus the Badass. There was Cyber Frog. There was, I don't know if your boy Zach was ever like fully CG or not. But oh shit, John Malin, yeah, Graveyard Shift, yeah, that was a big book. How could I forget that? Yeah, so yeah, Black and White did okay. Chrono Mechanics got caught up in that whole shit show. But the good thing that came out of it is I think people realized you can like Mike and Doug, and you can like Ethan and myself. It doesn't really matter. Have a great day, everyone. Got to get back to work on skids. Yes, indeedy do. Jasper says 23 delivery date gives you a lot of time in demand. Yeah, I really wanted to extend it, and Pamela was, well, I didn't. Pamela wanted to. She was like, you really should extend this. It's better to go a little long, and so people's expectations are that versus the shorter time. I am going to he still does drawn and quarter. It's just boring and devoid of personality now. When John and I did it, after a while, when I first got on the show, when I first started YouTubing, I didn't have a lot of confidence. To be honest, I still really don't. This doesn't come that easy. I do look forward to it and enjoy it now. So I didn't really talk too much shit, but towards the end there, I talked a lot of shit, and it was fun being around John, because John gave you permission to do it, because he was doing it and he made no apologies about it. So then, I would get in on it as well. And I thought that's what the show was about. But then I guess feelings were getting hurt, and Mike was taking things a little bit too seriously. And, those things happen, and it's his show. He can run it however he wants. What? Deviant Art forces pronouns on your profile. Well, they haven't said shit to me, and fuck them. If they're gonna pull my site down because I don't have my pronouns, they can kiss my ass. If that's true or not. Ruben, what's up? I am glad I got a copy with the first Black and White campaign. Cool. Yeah, you got that original cover, which will probably never, ever happen again. Joe Bernard says, Art, do you still have any of your oodles of doodles? I have like 8 books left. That's it. I am thinking of doing a second printing for the first volume, and then I have the real Steve Dye that's working on volume 2. So I have enough artwork for volume 2. Okay, let's go. Let's see what Central Scrutinizer says. Old days. What was that? Like a year and a half? I think CG's been around for 3 years now. So, yeah, a little longer. You're too good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, let's get on. Let's get on with the show. Yeah. Okay. So basically, the origin of Black and White. So it was probably 93, 94. I had left Marvel Comics. I was with Image Comics now. I had an office at Extreme Studios, a killer office at Extreme Studios. Rob set me up with a huge window view of Anaheim Stadium. That's where the Angels play. And so you could see the stadium from the window. And so when they'd have like concerts and stuff there, you could kind of hear it too. It was pretty neat. And so sometimes for lunch we would go down and we would watch a game. We'd have a hot dog and just watch like an hour of the game, and then go back to work. It was pretty cool. And yeah, we could just walk right over there. It was behind the building across railroad tracks, and then you'd walk a little bit through the parking lot. And it was right there. Yeah, so we would do that. And so, I had big old window. I had my drawing board in there. It was the 15th floor. It was the Disney casting building. It was right off the 55, I think, on Catella. And it was a pretty big building. And it's where Disney used to do all their casting for the Disney parks. And so I think we shared the 15th floor with Image Comics. I think we pretty much had the whole floor between Image and Extreme. And so felt like a big shot. I had my own security card to work the elevator. There was a security guy downstairs, and I'd ride up the elevator, and there was Shannon, who later married Danny Mickey. So she's Shannon Mickey now. And she worked the front I don't know what they call that, like office area, where you kind of they have the chairs, and there's the person that greets you when you come in the door and stuff. So that's what she did. And then she relayed messages and handled the phone, so any phone calls and stuff like that. She was really cool. And so I was doing a lot of stuff for Rob. So if Rob wanted me to ink him, I would ink him. If somebody needed a cover done, I would ink the cover. I think I was penciling a lot of the Supreme covers at the time. And so I was kind of just there. And so Rob took me aside one day and he said, you can do your own thing here if you want. Like, he kind of expected me to come up and ask him. It's just kind of not, it's Pamela is just the same way. Like, we're not like people that invite ourselves to things or make the first move. It's usually we wait for somebody to ask, and it's probably the wrong thing to do. I try to break myself of that, but that's kind of how I'm wired, the way I was raised. And so then he was kind of like, I was surprised you didn't ask. And he said, you should do your own book. You should do your own project here. And so I was like, wow, that would be great. And to be honest, I hadn't really thought about it. People were doing Rob's characters. They were, Rob had an idea and he'd go to a team, and then they would manifest the concept. So one of the things that he had pitched to me before that, and it never really went anywhere, was this character named Cybrid. I did a promotional image for it, and he was kind of like James Bond, but all the gizmos, he was like Inspector Gadget, like all these gizmos came off of him. And then there was Prophet. So he offered me Prophet before Panosian and before, oh my gosh, who ended up just knocking it out of the ballpark? Stephen Platt. And so this is before Stephen Platt even started working there. And so I guess he just kind of read into it that I wasn't that interested in it. And so that's why he came. He said, you should do your own book. And so he said, do you have any ideas? And I said, I don't. I never really thought about doing it. And so he said, well, give it some thought, get back to me. So that was very nice of him. I mean, I still remember the conversation. I was very generous. And and also if it's through a partner, I think I got a higher percentage, or I got the partner percentage, as far as it was like 90-10 or 80-20, but I think the partners were 90-10. Like you pay 10% back to Image Comics, and then you keep 90% of the profits, and that's a pretty killer deal. And so then it was probably a few days later. Pamela and I were going to go to the Bruce Lee auction, a state auction. And so I was definitely a big Bruce Lee fan, but also just like his take on Kato from the Green Hornet. So we had, I think we had to buy our place in there or something. You had to reserve a spot for this auction. And it was Lisa Lee, I think her name is, his wife, and his daughter. Brandon had just passed away. I think this was shortly after The Crow was made. And so we were living in Corona. We had just bought the house in Corona. And so we drove into LA for, I think it was either Sotheby's or one of those like heritage auctions or something like that. And so this was a state auction. The wife, she was an ex-wife, I guess. I don't know how you say that. Ex-wife of Bruce Lee, and the daughter was there. And so these were personal things they had around the house, and so they were auctioning them off. And so one of the things, or the main reason I went, is because I wanted this. Let me show you this. I still want it, by the way. It's this right here. So, like I said, I was a kid. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old when the Green Hornet came out in the 60s. It came out right after the Adam West Batman show came out. So there was Van Williams and Bruce Lee. And so I wanted this thing, and it was in the auction. So it was a dart, like a Hornet dart. And so they were like throwing stars. And so Bruce Lee's character, Kato, would throw them at people. And it was pretty badass at the time. As a kid, I was like, wow, that's pretty freaking cool. And so this was in the catalog for the Bruce Lee estate auction. And in the catalog, it was $800. So I don't know how much it's going for now, but it was $800 at the time. And so auction info, do they have a price here? ABC TV series, 1966, 1967, vintage original prop dart, measuring, constructed and carved, and green and black painted wood with flexible plastic wings, embedded faux ruby eyes. This dart is Kato's, Bruce Lee's weapon of choice, apart from his hands and feet, of course, exhibiting age and mere wear, in vintage, very good, fine condition. Collection sale, 1993. Oh shit! This could have been the same auction, because it was probably 93. Lot 689. Item includes items not sold. Auction prizes realized from, was that 6,400? No, what is that? Oh, pass. That's the whole lot. 6 million. Yeah, I don't see a price here. But anyway, at the auction, when I was there in the catalog, it said $800. So then widowed wife. Yeah, thank you. Widowed wife. Linda Lee. Yes, thank you. No, there was no sexual harassment. How dare you? Yeah, so my wife and I there were filming like big shots. We made the Marvel money, we got the Image money. We're thinking $800. That's a lot of money, but we could get one of those throwing darts. And And so you know, oh God, you guys, there was also this. Let me show you this. This was, I think, the highest bid. This was the cat suit from Enter the Dragon, and I forget what this went for tens of thousands of dollars. It was pretty cool, man. People lost their mind when this came up for auction. Yeah, I think this and a letter. I think there was a personalized letter that he wrote, and I can't remember what the details were, but those were the two biggest selling items. A personalized letter. I think he wrote it to himself, and then there was this. And I think the letter was kind of like one of those. I think what they do is they write to themselves when they're starting their careers. They say, "This is where I want to be," kind of thing. And so then they say, "And this is what I'm going to do to get it." It was something like that, and there was a lot of heart in it. There was integrity in it. Like, I will give the best performances of that I can do. You know, I want to be, you know, or bring karate to the masses, or it was just like stuff like that. And so that letter, I think, went for the most. And then there was the cat suit from Enter the A Game of Death. Oh, wait, the jumpsuit was in Game of Death, not Enter the Dragon. Okay, thanks. And so yeah, so there I am. I got my paddle. You know, they finally get to my my lot number, which is whatever that number was, and it was the throwing dart. And so I'm all excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take this home. And I kind of knew how auctions worked, but in more of an abstract versus ever being in one. And so the guy announces it, and he says, "Do I have a bidder?" Before I could even bring the paddle up, somebody bid 800, 850, 9, 1,000. I mean, it went up so damn fast. And so I just turned to my wife. I was like, this is way more, you know, I mean, it's just going up as we're talking. And so she says, "If you want it, just stay in the game." And so she was just, the way she looked and everything, and she was so supportive. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't keep going with it. I think it went for like $8,000 or so. It was like, it went for a lot of money, but it went so fast. So anyway, so, you know, I'm just a big, you know, Green Hornet fan. So I was a little let down. You know, I was a little put out. I didn't get, you know, what we drove all the way there for. And so there's this as well. So I did manage to get some stuff like memorabilia, things like that, from the auction. Well, not from the auction, but just over time. So this right here says it's 1,100, and this is a replica made for George Clooney. So I do think there was a moment in time where George Clooney was considered as a viable for the Green Hornet. Also, there was a version where Eddie Murphy was cast as the Green Hornet. So that thing went in and out of development for a long time. So there are these replicas that are made. It's kind of cool. It looks a lot like the original mask. So Green Hornet replica mask and original hat made for George Clooney. Maybe what was it? I wonder why he had it made. I think he was, let's see, Green Hornet replica mask, originally hat from Baron Hats, made for George Clooney when he was initially attached to the Columbia Pictures 2011 movie. The hat size, using the 66 TV series pattern hats, Burbank haberdashery. Let me see, fedoras. It gets more into the hat than it does the mask. yeah, so then there's that. Sorry, I was taking all that in. And so over time, I found this guy, and this is the first. This was like the pilot episode mask uh, from the Green Hornet '66 show. And so this is off the original mold from that show. So this was cast from the Van Williams original sculpts for the mask. I had a Kato one too. That wasn't from the original. That was like a replica sculpt. This is actually from the original mold. So it's pretty cool. And like I said, this wasn't the one that was used for most of the series. I think this was just the pilot episode, because you can tell because it's got these little slopes here. Pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I always thought this was really a neat idea. You kind of put them on like glasses. And then there was like the old Aurora model kits. And so this was a replica done by Polar Knights. A friend bought this for me. He knew I was a big Green Hornet fan. So I never took it out of the box. I just kind of display it. I got my little Green Hornet display area. And then this is the only thing I have still from, like this is original. So this was as a kid, you can see on the back, I carved my name in it. You know how kids would like, so somebody didn't steal your toy. So yeah, oh, there's T-Bear on the top there. Yeah, so it's like Andy from Toy Story. So yeah, this is, and I remember I bought this myself. So I saved up, I mowed a bunch of lawns and stuff like that. So this is one of those Corgi, and it has this cannon that shoots out of the front here. And then it has the trunk opens, and then there's this, and then I don't know if you guys can see this. The Green Hornet can kind of like fire. It's got like this little twist thing here, and he can shoot his gas gun here. So it's pretty cool. I always thought it was kind of, I didn't like that it had the insignia on the roof, because the original, the car didn't have that. So they just put that on there for the toy. But yeah, just a big Green Hornet fan. So my wife and I are, we're driving back home from the auction. Like I said, I'm going to get into a bunch of details and stuff. It's going to be fun. And so I told her about that Rob and I had talked about creating something for ourselves, just an IP. And so, we were talking about Green Hornet, Kato, all this stuff. And so then it just kind of organically went into like, well, we like the Green Hornet and Kato. What if we did a team like that? What if we did, kind of like a team that was just kind of ground level? He's a brawler, like the Green Hornet character is kind of just a fist, he's got the gizmos, but he fights with his fists, and he's got his gizmos, gas guns, things like that, Hornet Sting. And then we have like it's not really a sidekick. Kato's like a huge character. But they kind of consider him a sidekick. And then you have like a martial artist, somebody that can kick ass. And so then I don't know how, because we were going to work on it together. So like a male female thing kind of felt right at the time, something that she could write, something I could contribute to. And so then we were thinking yin yang. What if they were opposites of each other? Like what if their personalities were just completely opposite, their points of view were completely opposite? And then we were thinking like like James Bond stuff, we like spies. So we threw that in the mix. Like when you first create these things, you just kind of throw a bunch, it's like a salad, you just throw a bunch of ingredients in the bowl, and then you just see, you stir it up and see what comes out of it. And so the male, female, the yin yang symbol. And then we were like, yin yang, well, let's make her Chinese, Bruce Lee, Chinese. I think the original Kato was Filipino, I think. And so, we did that. And then we were like, well, if he's a spy, what if he's kind of like 007? What if he's like James Bond? So those were kind of the prototypes. It's like James Bond meets Bruce Lee, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of the origin of it. And I didn't want to do something super fantastic. I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more grounded, just as far as believability. Just these, they don't have superpowers. They don't have this kind of thing. And so pretty much on the drive home, we came up with all of that. And so I think even the tagline kind of came in that drive, in a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. And so that came out of a conversation where we were, hold on, a little dry mouth. That came out of a conversation where we were like, there were a lot of gray area characters that were coming out in comic books. And so I was like, I was kind of getting fed up with it because I thought there were writers that could do it good, like Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Frank Miller. They could write those gray area characters. There was a moment in time where it worked, Wolverine, these type of characters. But then there was a generation that was raised on that, and they were doing these gray area characters, but they didn't seem heroic anymore. They didn't seem like they were good guys. And so I'm not even making like a judgment call, like, oh, well, that's bad or whatever. But it didn't seem like there was any characters that were like really good guys anymore. It's like the water was just kind of mucked up. Everything was just kind of murky. So morality wasn't really clear. So then that's where the tagline came from. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. So it was kind of a jab at comic books. It was kind of a jab at the gray area character. But Pamela and I did a lot of talk about this. This was a little tougher. Is that what if you had like a character that had the sensibilities of Steve Rogers, Captain America, or Clark Kent, Superman? And what if you team them up with somebody that had more of a gray area and ends justify the means type of look at the world? So that's kind of the opposites. That's where you have Reed Blackett, aka Black. He looks at things in there's no shades of gray. There's only this or that. There's good, there's evil. And so he can kind of cut right through the bullshit. And then she kind of can justify doing bad for the ultimate good. So the could justify the means to her. So I thought that would be an interesting dynamic for two characters. So they're not only opposites, male, female, all these other things, but they're kind of opposites in the way that they would look at dispensing justice. So what comes out of it is the black and white form of justice, this new form of justice, the way they do it. And so that's what I thought would be interesting about moving forward with it. So we kind of had our characters. He's British, she's Chinese. Her mother was, from America, so she's a little of both. And so we're gonna actually tie back into some of her past too. Her mother's still alive, so we kind of mention her in issue 1. So we have some characters that we can still use down the line. And so yeah, there's now Wolverine is in a gray area. I think he was kind of, it wasn't as much, but he was even in the day. Let me see. Miller's Sin City is the best comic series ever written. I'm not a classic comic book reader, but there is something about, and I like that stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like reading gray area characters and stuff, but I just thought that like, I remember having conversations at DC, and they were like, Superman's not cool, he's just not hip, he's not whatever. So their idea was just to bring cynicism and cynical, and make him cynical, and make it like kind of muck up the world. But that's not Superman. You know, to muck the character up, to make him more of like this gray area character, to make him more complex, to do all these other things. And I just don't think that that was the right way to do it. You can gray area up the world, but you don't do that to the character. And so, and there's just, I was reading like just comic books that just, it didn't seem like the characters were acting very heroic. So, but I did realize that these were more popular characters, the gray area characters. They more resonated with a modern audience, like, because people couldn't really get behind, oh, he's a goody goody. It was kind of going where it wasn't believable anymore. So that's the point of Black and White, where you kind of have both of these characters, where you could have this guy that his moral barometer is always spot on, and then this character that possibly can look the other way for the greater good. And so then we start thinking about names, and so then Black and White, they're the opposites, right? You got black, you got white. And so the name came out of that same drive. We pretty much had everything. And so then I went up to Rob the next day, and I said, Rob, got an idea. And he goes, what's the idea? And so I said, Black and White. I gave him the basic pitch, and he goes, Black and White, like the Jackson song. He goes, perfect, let's do it. And so that was that. So Black and White came out of the auction, the Bruce Lee auction estate. That was kind of where the inspiration originally came from. And then Rob giving us the green light to do the book. And so Rob was pretty cool. He was like, what we should do to help promote the book is we'll do these backups. So I did was it 16-page story? And so they were like, Team Youngblood number 6. So the back of it, there was a puzzle, so you could kind of piece things together. Let me see, which way do they go? They go this way. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so they all kind of piece together. So the idea is all the Extreme books that came out that month have the piece, and then you can piece them all together. And then each book had a 2-page story in them. So this was the little intro page. The ride continues as Extreme Studios presents the second of 9 installments of R.T. Bear's Black and White. The mystery started to unfold in Supreme 10 and resumes in this and upcoming Extreme Studios titles in February and March. Reed Blackett, a semi-retired MI10 British agent, and Whitney Samsung, a tough-minded Chinese businesswoman, take matters into their own hands to become the avenging team known as Black and White. And then it kind of has a recap of the story. So then here's the first 2 pages in this installment. So it's pretty cool. So I put out an ash can. Actually, I think I saw it over here somewhere. Oh, here it is. So we put these out for the volume 1. This has the original story pages in there with the balloons and everything. So yeah, so we put this together as a way to promote it and get the word out there. And so yeah, we did this, and this was also a retail poster. We put them out. So there's just the backs of all these books. Let's see what book this one is. So this was the old Black and White logo. It's cool. So let me see. Let us see what we got here. So here's the cover. Oh, it's chat. Team Youngblood again. Norm Rapman. Memory lane. So let's see what the preview is. Oh my gosh, what was this? This was, I don't know what this was, but it's in the center. Personal checks. Oh, it's where you could subscribe. You could get your books mailed to you. Oh, here we go. Good stuff. And then last page. Regis slams his head down on the desk. Yeah, so good times. Thank you so much, Rob, for giving me the opportunity to do that. So thankful for that. So that was pretty much the initial, black and white idea. And so then it kind of developed. We created a story. So there were these issues. So we did a mini series. There were 3 issues in the mini series. Here's issue 3, and then we put that out in '94. So the mini series in '94, and then we Pamela and I took a year to develop the ongoing. So it took about a year, and so we had 3 issues pretty much finished. And we had launched the first one of the ongoing. It was called Codename Black and White. And as that year went, the market started changing. So the sales were going down monthly. And so by the time we put out the book in '95 or whenever it was, the market was way lower than anybody had anticipated. So the book still sold a lot. I can't remember what it sold, like 300,000 copies or something like that. But we couldn't make it because all of our vendors and partners were charging still like old image money, and they weren't willing to renegotiate. They later had to because it became so apparent within just a few months. But we had just had Amanda, our little one, and I didn't feel like it was a good place. It wasn't a solid place to be for a breadwinner. So I left Image at that point, and I went back to Marvel because things were just shifting and changing so quickly. I just needed some, stability. And I do look back, and I wish we would have stuck it out, because I see like Billy Tucci and She, and what Billy did with that. He's got a large body of work with that IP. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, Black and White, we'll get there, with CG, and we'll keep putting these books out, and we'll get there. But man, he's got years and like decades of She books, and with that omnibus, you don't put out an omnibus if you don't have product. And so I do look back, and I think, I wish, I could have done that. But I think, looking back, it was probably the right thing to do. Financially, we took care of things and went kind of the more sure route, I guess. And but it never went away. Black and White never went away. It was still always at the forefront of my brain. And so then what ended up happening is, when I, after I got settled, going back to Marvel, things started mellowing out. We just had the kids, so we're kind of trying to figure all that stuff out. And so I started, working in the evening time, and I started working on new versions of Black and White. And at the time, I was thinking like the '90s version was corny. It wasn't everything I wanted. Some of the robotic stuff wasn't resolved the way I would have rather, like I wanted more of that aspect in there. There were just things. And so I kept retooling the concept. And there's probably at least 2 separate versions, all in layout form, of that, like alternate version of black and white. And there was all kinds of, there was one with supernatural, sci-fi, supernatural aspects to it. But they all had more robots involved, more robots, and they were all kind of more future tense stories. And so, just a couple years ago, working, with Taylor Grosso at Hack Shack Studios in California, and we were just talking about the stuff. And then she said, "Well, I never read that. Let me read what you have." So I found, these books, and I let her read them. And so she came back after a few days. She goes, "I really liked it." She goes, "You really captured a, a decade." And she goes, there's a really charming kind of tone to it that's not like contemporary comics. It's not really cynical. It's not like contemporary comics. It feels very original. She said the tone is great. And then, I said, "Well, what did you see that was wrong with it?" And then she got more critical with it. But that stuck with me. So then I was thinking, this is a 20 something reading a 20, almost 25-year comic book, and she thinks it's charming. She thinks it's cool. And she didn't mean, like sometimes people say it's charming and they mean it in a sarcastic way or whatever, but she didn't mean it that way. She was sincere. And so then I started rereading it myself and looking over it, and then seeing, like, if I was to do this again, how would I do it? And I was seeing if parts of the original could be resurrected or retooled. And so, I asked her for notes. I took notes. And before we knew it, we were kind of working on volume one, what became volume one, black and white, that we, created a few years back. And so, yeah, I thought it was very interesting that she kind of believed in it. I was like, this. Yeah, I thought for sure that, because the other versions I was working on were way edgier. They were more like gray area stuff. They were more like contemporary comic books. They were cynical. They were dark. They were that type of thing. And not that black and white doesn't deal with some of those subject matters, but it deals with it in a different way. And so, as I was going over it, and I was watching, like older movies like Big Trouble in Little China, even like, if you think about the Indiana Jones stuff and the first Star Wars and those things, they have like this really fun, like, just the story moves. It doesn't overly get into detail. There isn't a lot of cynicism. It's just kind of what we used to say, good, clean fun, and so that's kind of what stayed. And that's the reason I kind of wanted to retool the first, what volume one was pretty much the first two issues of the miniseries. And so volume two is kind of the third issue of the miniseries. So it kind of follows the original three issues, but it's completely different, if that makes any sense at all. So volume one was pretty much issue 1 and 2 that were reworked. I mean, there's probably like 15 new pages, so almost a completely like new book put into that volume one. And so there was a lot of things that were glossed over, a little bit of detail added, and more robots. And like, one of the things that in this new version that I came up with is that there's MI6, and then we came up originally with MI10. But when Pamela and I came up with MI10, we didn't really know that there was an MI10. There was no internet. We couldn't really search. And so we just thought it was cool. It was better than MI6. It was, 4 higher than MI6. So it was a higher division. Like, we didn't really understand it when we did it originally. And so then I did a little research, and MI10 was a real division of MI6. And it was in the wartime, like the Second World War, around that time. And it was technologies. It was weapons development, things like that. So it was more technology based. And so then I was thinking, well, a future tense story. So what I wanted to do with the story that I'm telling now is that I wanted to put black and white into a future. I want to do sci-fi. I want to do a sci-fi action adventure story. So where I felt like the original, I wanted to make it very grounded. This one, I wanted to kind of make the skies the limit. Let's just get into all this stuff. I'm a big fan of Appleseed and Ghost and Shell and stuff like that. And that's kind of what is somewhat inspiring this new version as well. So, we can get more into the cyber tech, mecha, sentient robots, all these type of things. We could go anywhere. And so MI10, I just retooled it that it had been brought back to the British Secret Service as a division, but it was anti-robotics. It was this. That's what the patch and that's what this means. MI10 Anti-Robotics Task Force. So it's a division of MI6, British Secret Service. So think about James Bond as a vigilante robot hunter. You know what I mean? So Reed Blackett, aka Black, but when he was there, he was, he had an MI number and all that other stuff. He was a spy, but he was also in the anti-robotics division. So I thought, like, well, if you have a future like this, then you have to, if like robots, like sentience is against the law in the world. And so, who polices these robots? Who looks after them? Make sure that there isn't somebody developing stuff that's crazy, bad, and evil for the world. Let me get this. Thank you so much, Timothy Fitzgerald, for $2 super chat. How does Eric Weathers 50 CG and still draw his own? Oh, I don't know. Letter 50 CG books. I have no idea, man. The guy has a work ethic. When Hack Shack Studios was at its prime, we did like 4 or more books a month. So that meant we were pretty much putting out a book a week, sometimes more. So it can be done, but I don't ever want to go back to that because I call it becoming a robot. You just become your soul just gets sucked out of your body. Like all you do is become a machine, production machine, and you just do things, and your soul just gets sucked out. Like this is way better where I'm at now because I get to create, I get to hang out, I get to be a human being. It wasn't like that then. So more power to him. He's a lot younger than I am. I'll take black and white. That new James Bond movie looks awful. Yeah, I like what's his name, the James Bond actor. There's aspects of the newer James Bond that I like. There's some stuff that I don't. It's pretty much Bourne Identity meets James Bond. But I like the actor, and I like some of it. Oh, check out Bubblegum Crisis. Yeah, I actually have some original artwork from that animated. Yeah, those mech suits and all that stuff's pretty cool. Yeah. Speaking of roboting, is the live stream roboting? I hope not. Yeah, so I wanted to do something different, like redefine or to actually define what MI10 was. So, when Pamela and I did it originally, there wasn't really an idea. So now it's thought out that it's an actual division, and that Reed worked there, and so did his father Alexander, and so did Brooks Gray. So Brooks Gray was he was like the weapons developer. He was like the key guy for MI10, and he created a lot of the anti-robotics, weaponry, tech, and all that stuff. So one of the things that I wanted to do with Reed is that he's kind of from a spy family. So mom died early on, and so he didn't have a mother in his life, but he had his father, Alexander, and Brooks Gray was Alexander's best friend. So it was kind of like my two dads kind of situation. And so they both raised him, and they're both like their whole lives were spies. They were spies. And so, his young life was around that, in that world, going on adventures with his dad. Like, it would be great to do like early, spy stuff with Reed as a young person, going to different countries, hanging out with dad and Brooks and stuff like that. And, all that stuff. And so it was almost like he didn't have a choice. He didn't have a choice of what he was going to be. So it's kind of like, how there's families of police officers or firemen, and they're like generational. And so I was thinking it would be kind of a generational spy family. And so he was just kind of born into it. But what happened is, as he started getting older, he was born with that conscience. He had the moral barometer that was always spot on. And so as he was asked to do questionable things, I also thought, like Bond is not over. It's kind of glamorized, but if you really pay attention, like Bond's life is fairly superficial. He doesn't really have relationships. He doesn't have anything of any kind of substance. He is a machine. He's kind of just this guy that does things. And so one of the ideas is that, what if you were James Bond but developed a conscience? What if all of a sudden that license to kill didn't have an attraction to you anymore? What if killing without conscience and taking orders without question became an issue, especially if you saw something that affected your family, especially if you saw something that contributed to the death of your father, which is all I say there. That's what the next storyline is going to be. So that's why Reed leaves. So Reed is from like a spy family. So I'm going to get into more detail with how he left, how it worked out that he was able to leave, a spy organization. I always thought, like, how do you leave a spy organization? Most of the time I would figure like you would end up dying, in a mission or something like that. But I was thinking that if you were an asset, that maybe they would want to keep you happy. Maybe they would want to also, kind of like the mafia, they would want to keep you still involved with the operation, with the organization, because they know how good you are. So Reed is really, really good at taking down robots, understanding the psychology of robots, just all those things. So it's a major loss for MI10 not to have him. And also, since Brooks was kind of a surrogate dad to Reed, he leaves with him. And so that's where the story proper starts with issue 1, is Reed is kind of a retired MI10 agent, So I thought it would be fun. Like, well, what do you do after that? Like, where does your life go? How do you make things work? And so that's where the story starts, is Reed is trying to become a civilian. He's trying to have a normal life, whatever that is. He has no idea what that would even be like. And so then he meets Whitney Sung, and then he goes into a completely different direction. So in a new direction, a direction that suits him better than being a spy, and then better than being an importer exporter, like a normal Joe, because he could never really be that. So when he meets Whitney, they kind of go on this mission together, a life mission. They kind of find each other, and then their true core gets to happen, like this thing that was in them both, because they're together, and because of this black and white thing that they create, they get to be true to themselves. And so that's kind of the idea behind the story. So I'm giving you guys a little bit more detail, like pulling back the curtain and seeing, how it happened, and then kind of where we're at with, you know, the 2000s version, the new version of the character. So I love this stuff. I think, you know, one of the things we can do, you know, in CG with our YouTube channels is we can give you guys insight like this. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you enjoyed, you know, me pulling back the curtain a little bit and talking about, you know, the birth of black and white and kind of like the rebirth of black and white, which is where we're at right now, which is, you know, creating this fantastic, you know, epic origin story, which is in volume 1, and volume 2 will wrap up that story. And then moving forward, Joe Fulton and I would like to do one and dones, like 100-page stories. If we can do it, hopefully we'll be able to, you know, put that kind of content in one single issue, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But the next story arc is going to be loosely based on the ongoing story. So in that 90s tier that we just sold out of, there was that issue 1 of the ongoing, and that will kind of give you an idea of where the next storyline is going to go. So it's a little bit of a preview, if you will. So one of the things we're going to do as far as the campaign is concerned, we're going to see how many books we have left, how many these are things that you get within the in the 90s flashback tier, and then the postcards, and of course the pogs. You know, can't forget the pogs, very 90s. And so we're probably going to bring a new tier back. It'll be slightly higher than the one before, and then we'll see how many we're able to offer there, because we sold out within that day. 30 backers worth of black and white flashback, 90s flashback. So let me go and see what you guys are saying. I hope this didn't feel self-indulgent. I hope you guys liked it. I'm not watching the new Bond. I kind of feel like I have time invested. You know what I mean? Like I think it's gonna be the last one. So I kind of feel like I need to see it. The one before this, what was it called? It wasn't Skyfall was actually okay. I think Skyfall actually gave you a little bit more and kind of built the character. And I liked that the Aston Martin kind of went out in a blaze of glory, and that it was kind of like it was an Alamo kind of story where he went back to the old his old house. And so you get a little bit of backstory about him, and it pissed me off because there's that like kind of like that gray character. I forget the actor's name, and he kind of helped raise him and stuff like that. I was like, shit, dude, that's black and white, and that was done 25 years ago. And so, yeah, I might see it if it's easy to see. I'm not going to go out of my way to see the movie though. I heard mixed reviews with the movie. Oh, I see. Danky Frankie says, do any of your characters say "Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto," for dying? Blam! Blah, 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 blah. Let me see what this says. I saw Demi Moore. It's good, but there's a cheap Parasite flick in the 90s with Demi Moore that's worth a watch. Oh, cool. I kind of like sometimes cheesy stuff. If it's good cheese, fun cheese. Johnny Quest meets James Bond. Oh, shit. The younger version. Oh, shit, dude. We could do spin-offs. That is good, Anthony. That is good. Yeah, I didn't think of the Johnny Quest aspects of it, but that's what it would be like, you know. Johnny Quest was kind of like a kid raised with spy parents. Holy shitballs. That's an easy pitch, too. It becomes easier. Johnny Quest meets James Bond. Oh, dude, I want to tell some new stories now. The Bond novels are hilarious. I read a couple of the Ian Fleming novels in the day, had some serious intolerance issues. Um, it it was a lot different than, I mean, it wasn't campy, not at all. This is cool. I love the stream. Oh, good, good. I'm glad. House of R says, I really did. I love to hear what creators say about the process. Yeah, I think when people talk about stuff like when I see this, you know, like sometimes you think like these things happen, right? That there's no thought, like you just start drawing or writing, you know, stuff like that. But to me, like these characters are real. This world is real, and I get sucked into it. And I enjoy talking about it, so I'm glad you guys dig it as well. Sketch says, if you see it, tell us if it's bad. Save us some money. Skyfall was decent. Yeah, there were aspects of it, and M dies, and I thought they gave her a really good death, and she's kind of like M mother. You know, there was some kind of like parenting stuff going on there, and so you know when she dies, you kind of realize that as messed up as being a spy is, that's the closest thing that he had to a mother, I guess. Um, it was pretty interesting. There were some good aspects to it. Um, Admiral Wackass says, good stream art. I've liked all the new Bonds except Spectre. Was that the last one before the new one? I think it was Spectre. That was really bad. Yeah, and that was supposed to be the wrap up to like the big overarching villain story. Yeah, I thought I liked the actor. He was in that Green Hornet movie. I forget the actor. Uh, he's a good actor, but he played the villain, and they didn't give him anything to work from. That villain was really bad. How do you screw up a Bond villain? Let's see. Albert Finney, that was the old guy. They hoped Sean Connery would do the part. Yeah, but I think it would have taken you out. It's see, that's one thing about Hollywood. They do this stunt casting shit or this like, oh, this is gonna bring people in. It's kind of too gimmicky. Like that new Spider-Man, they're saying they're gonna have all these other Spider-Mans and stuff. I think on paper it sounds interesting, and you can sell it. It's a selling point, but I don't think it works, especially somebody that's big like Sean Connery. You know, um, I think he's a good enough actor. He would have pulled it off, but I think you would have always thought like, it's James Bond. Let me see. Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace. The villain in Quantum of Solace was he wasn't that good, but I liked the water aspect. I thought like, yeah, there's this natural resource and that everybody needs, and if you could corner the market, Skyfall, I think, was the best. Wasn't there one other one? Which was the one where the guy was an ex-spy and he bit the, like he was old school and he bit the capsule and he was supposed to die but he didn't. Oh my god, that dude was creepy and cool. He was the best villain. And when he shot that girl, you know, with the drink on her head and stuff, oh shit. There was some really memorable stuff there. He got a lot of women killed in that too. I think there was two women that believed in him, and they both ended up dead. Johnny Quest ruled, yes. Hyper Kaiju says, "What's up?" Skyfall. That was Skyfall. Yeah. The fourth, but that was the one just before the new one, right? Where he falls in love with the daughter of that a-hole. Yeah, it was there was some okay stuff, ideas, but I think the villain is what let that movie down. And they started kind of getting into the more gizmo aspects. Doesn't he, they have the ejector seat and he comes down in a parachute? I don't know if I like that. I kind of like Cheese, but I thought the tone of the other ones it didn't fit as well. So oh my gosh, we could go off on Bond stuff forever. Yeah, I concur. Okay, I got to read this. Thank you, Frankie says. That's what bugged me about Skyfall. Bond is a male wish fulfillment fantasy in male fantasy. I saved the hot girl. Yeah, I think they were trying to kind of, that's that cynical part. That's that kind of like, this is for a current audience. You know, we got to make him pay the price for, you know, his chivalry, not his chivalry, but his sexism. Well, let's wrap this up. I'm going to show off the campaign one more time. Let's go back in time. So yes, this is Black and White Man versus Machine. 882 backers, and we got 20 days left. We are at 71. We are closing 71,612. We are closing on 72K. 75K is the stretch goal of the 4-page epilogue written by Joe Fulton and myself. So you guys, here's the main cover. Here's the Kenneth Rocafort variant. Here is the Joe Bennett that will be finished inks today. Here is the High Octane Adventures. And then here is Volume 1, second printing. We also have Be a Character. We have the Black and White Jam. Everything that, all the tiers that come with 3 books or more comes with a free trading card, and the Jam comes with its own mini print. And you can get all the books, including the Greg Capullo variant. That's the only place you can. All of the 3 book tiers or more have a trading card in them. So the main book, the Rocafort and the High Octane Adventures, comes with a trading card. We have the twofer. We have the original story page. All these books, too, except for the Capullo, you can get as add-ons. You can get the story pages as add-ons, too. Like I said, that's the only original artwork you can get at this moment in time. We have the Joe Bennett cover you can get as an add-on, the Rocafort add-on, the Ink OT you can get it as an add-on, and the Black and White second printing, and then the main book, and then the featured tier comes with the 3 books, a trading card, and keep in mind all these books come signed. Volume 1 will be signed by Pamela and myself. So you guys, a link is in the description. Come by. Check out Black and White 2, Man versus Machine. This will be the epic conclusion to the Black and White saga. So you guys enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Had a good time talking about the origins, the birth of Black and White, and the rebirth of Black and White, which is the current version. So you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you later tonight on Pontificators. Take care, all.